Here we go with the new contactor installation. Let's see if I can do this relatively easily. Quickly and easily would be nice. It is kind of a hot day. It's like 88 degrees. So it'd be nice to get this done quickly. Get back in the house. Get the air conditioning back on. So here's the current setup as far as everything goes. I installed this not smart at all, I installed this delay. So that's warm. Let's take that out. So I've been thinking about this. It's always good to have a plan. This unit has an ECM fan, and the way that it's wired up is that the fan has its own control signal, right? So the fan is not turned on and off by the contactor, is what I'm trying to say. The brown and yellow come into the contactor, but this blue and yellow come back off of the contactor, off the 24 volts, and they go to the fan. The fan is not coming out the top here, and the fan is actually pulling power. It's wired in here on the bottom along with the incoming power. So the fan always gets power, and the fan gets the 24 volt signal to tell it whether to turn on and off. And it doesn't use this contactor other than as a place to hook the wires up to. So my new contactor is going to go on there, but it only has this single set of 24 volt terminals. So it doesn't have this situation where there's a double on each side and you can pull that back off. I think if I just keep it simple and let the fan power be switched along with the compressor power, it's different than what I have now, but it might actually even be better because somebody was telling me that those ECM fans also benefit from having a delay. So this way I would get the delay for free. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to disconnect all this stuff and then go from there. Got the old contactor off. Nothing's ever truly easy. This was just held on with 2 screws here on the top, and then it kind of sits in that bent bit of sheet metal. But the way the new one works is there's this back panel, and you screw that on, and then you put this on. So it's designed to have these 4 holes here in generally the same locations, but of course it doesn't have an accommodation for that bent piece there. I don't think it'll matter. I think I'm just going to put it in anyway. And of course these sheet metal screws that were in there are very shallow, but I don't all the parts I have, the standard air conditioner screws is not one of them, and I can see that this is going to leave plenty of meat, as they say, and no potatoes. I think what I'll do is just put the top 2 in and see what it looks like. That is not going anywhere. It's not going to be a problem. So this will go on there, and everything will be wonderful. I did realize, though, that I do have to connect these after all, because the fan won't run unless it gets 24 volts in addition to AC power. Before I did any of this incoming white wire was connected to the brown, and then the brown went over onto the contactor along with the blue. So what I'm going to do here is put in a 3-position Wago to keep the blue connected, and that should be equivalent to what we had before. Easy peasy. Use the Jacari automatic wire stripper, one of my favorite toys. Take this off, replace it with this. One, two. 3. All right, had to run inside and grab a knee pad. Not Slav. I could not squat like that any longer. Now I'm gonna leave this red connected to this yellow, because remember, this goes through a bunch of cutout switches, high pressure, low pressure stuff. So we're gonna leave that on the other side, but I'm gonna kind of do the same thing, just on, instead of on the incoming end, I'm gonna go after those pressure switches. We'll use this as a pigtail. So I'll cut this here, and I'll cut this here. Strip this. Strip these two. Get another Wago. Put it on here. And on here. And on our little pigtail. Alrighty. So now that's going to go onto our contactor for the 24 volt side. Now let's address the other side. Here's our incoming 240 volts. That's no problem. These are for the fan, the black and brown are power for the fan. So that's no problem. Look at the contactor here. So on the output side, we've got 2. Okay, folks, it's about to get real trippy here. I apologize for the video quality. I've been using this new camera that you can wear around your neck. It's really handy when you're trying to do something like this and want to keep your hands free, but it has a lot of problems. I accidentally put it into some kind of time-lapse mode, and so it recorded everything with no sound and sped up. I've used my video editing software to slow it back down to normal speed, and I'm just going to talk over it. But because of all the missing frames that have been interpolated, it looks really bizarre. Sorry if this is unwatchable. Maybe you'll just find it entertaining, but it is what it is. A stupid camera lost the most important part of my project, and I'm finishing the video anyway because I took the time to do it, and I'm going to put it up on YouTube. So what I was about to say before the camera cut off was that I wasn't sure whether I wanted to keep the spade terminals on the compressor wires or cut them off and use the screw terminals like you're obviously supposed to. But I decided once I was out there doing all this work, I might as well do it the right way. So I cut the ends off and I used the screw terminals. And that's what I was trying to show in the next section. Okay, here's where the freaky video begins. But on the bottom, what I'm pointing to here is that I used those screw terminals for the contactor wiring, so you could see it there next to the incoming AC. And then those brown and black wires there are the ones for power to the fan. And those I'm going to just attach onto the spade lugs. I'm sure I was saying something really interesting here, but don't know what it is. And there is our yellow 24 volt wire. And somewhere here is the brown one that goes on the other connector. Better not tell them about these bats. And then the orange goes to the, what do you call that thing? Capacitor. The orange wire there is a little short, so I was kind of fussing with it because I wasn't sure whether I should make a longer one. I probably should have made a longer one, but I don't have any orange wire. So it kind of just fit. And what's left after that? I think that's everything. So just tidy everything up, and we're going to try turning it on and see if it works. Power it up. Sure, why not? What's the worst that could happen? Something horrible. Okay, it's powered up. Is the light flashing? We should have a slow flashing light indicating that it's standby, which is what we have. Slow flashing light. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to hold these two buttons down to reset the whole thing. I want to reset the cycle count and the brownout protection. Hopefully that did it. So I'm going to pull the disconnect again. Why am I doing this weird thing? Because according to the manual, when it first gets power, it kind of looks at the voltage and decides a threshold for brownout protection. And then, as far as I could tell, because they talk about resetting it, doing a full reset, it's like remembers it permanently. Now that would be a problem because I connected it to 120 volts in the basement when I was playing with this thing. I should be able to press the test button to get a 5-second test. Do I want to do that? Yes, I want to do that. Didn't see my fan start though. Oh, the fan, because the fan's not getting 24 volts. Yes, of course, so it won't start. Interesting. So this test is not going to test. That's going to confuse people. But then again, that's the same way as the other one worked. All right, so I'm going to turn the Nest on and then see if it actually starts up. I just turned the thermostat on, so it should be flashing faster now to indicate that it's on a delay, which is what it's doing. So we went from a slow flash to a rapid flash, which indicates start delay. Sorry about the label being upside down. And so now I'm going to have a boring 3-minute wait, at which point everything should start up just fine. Et voila! She just started. So we should have a solid light. Solid light. Got warm air coming out already. Compressor compressing. Suction line is getting cold. So I think it's all working. One last thing, it comes with a sticker, so old school techs don't get confused when there's no contactor to push in. Just put that on there. I'll put the cover back on and consider the job done. See you in the next one.